What's up, everybody? It's JoJo, your favorite gold coach here, and I hope you're all doing well. I'm quitting tank, and today I wanted to tell you why. But first, I wanted to address what is undoubtedly a question in some of your minds. Well, JoJo, I don't know who you are. You have barely 6,500 subscribers. You have just started making Overwatch content. Why would I, the viewer, give a shit that you're quitting tank? I don't know, but you clicked on the video, so let's get started. First off, a little bit of a background as to why I started playing tank in the first place. I started playing Overwatch back in early 2017. I have been playing this game for a long time. I say I've been playing this game for a long time. I took multiple years off of this game between 2019 and 2022 when Overwatch 2 released, and then I took another couple of years off between 2022 and honestly 2026. I would say I took probably about 3 years off of the game because in general, I just wasn't really enjoying it, but we'll get to that maybe another day. The point is that way back in the day when I first started playing this game, we had only 6v6 open queue as an option. Now, 6v6 open queue currently exists in this game, and it's just as much of a lawless land as I remember. Way back in the day, in order to climb in 6v6 open queue, you basically had to flex, because otherwise you were inevitably 9 times out of 10 going to end up on a team full of DPS mains who were going to insta-lock DPS, not switch off, not play tank, not play support, any of that, and so you had to flex. And my duo at the time was a support main, so we always pretty much had a support, but we needed a tank, so I took up the role of maining tank. My mains back then were Winston and Reinhardt, Orisa when she released, and then Ball when he released. I had a lot of fun playing tank back then whenever I would get a second tank, because solo tanking has always been miserable. Even before, back in Overwatch 1, where people say is this golden era of Overwatch, it was miserable back then, and it's miserable now, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The point is that I only started maining tank because I wanted to climb the ranks with my duo. Because my duo was always support, I gave up being a DPS main so that I could become a tank main, learn how to play tank, and learn how to play it properly so that we could climb. When it came down to it, I became a tank main out of necessity, not out of a genuine love for the characters, although I did love them. Reinhardt is one of my favorite characters in fiction, especially after the Crusaders cinematic. Seeing Reinhardt's backstory, seeing how he used to be this hot-headed dumbass who didn't do what he was supposed to do, but eventually climbed up and learned that how he was supposed to protect others because his mentor died, that shit was heart-shattering. I even made a TikTok about it. It's genuinely one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But at the end of the day, I just don't like the style of tank. I don't like standing in front of the enemy team and doing as much as you can to create that space. Because at the end of the day, people completely misunderstand what a tank is for. It's not to absorb all the damage, it's to create space. And unfortunately, the thing that made me quit back in 2022 and back in 2019 was the fact that the community doesn't really know what the fuck they're talking about. They want you, especially in the ranks where I am hard stuck at, which is gold if you couldn't tell by my intro, they don't really know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what's going on. They'll be like, oh my god, get off a Ball, get off a Doom, get off a well, yada yada yada. You have to go Sigma or Reinhardt or Ram because we need a shield because we have no idea how to use a fucking building as cover. And so it's one of the most infuriating things to have to deal with. Now, I will say that back when 6v6 roll lock was a thing, I really liked playing tank because I had another tank to work with. There was someone else to take the pressure off of me. There was someone else who was willing to help me, and a lot of the tank synergies were really cool. Your Rein Zarias, your Hog Orissas, your even Sig Hog was pretty fucking sick. Of course, Diva Winton was the big thing, and then there was also Ball Diva, which was really fun. There was a lot of really cool, fun synergies that were there, and Blizzard just kind of took that away from us. And they took it away from us because they wanted to reduce the queue times. I can tell you 100% that is why they did it. They tried to feed us this bullshit of nobody wants to deal with 2 main tanks. There's never been a meta once in Overwatch where you ran 2 main tanks. There's never been a thing. Even Goat's meta ran 1 main and 2 off tanks. It's never been 2 main tanks. But it was just, they did it to fix the queue times specifically for DPS, because DPS queues were really really long because it's hard enough to find somebody who wants to play tank in general, much less find people who want to play 2 tanks. And so they got rid of one of them and made that the role lock system. Now they tried to overbuff the tanks to compensate, but that just ended up making tanks feel really miserable to play against. And on the other side, it made tanks feel really miserable to play because winning didn't feel good. Winning felt like thank fuck that's over, and losing made you feel helpless because you're a super powered tank. You're supposed to be able to run the enemy team over, but while they're sitting there shooting an infinite bag of health raid boss, you're over here dumping damage into them and they're getting overhealed because they're being double pocketed, and a lot of times you're having to duel the enemy tank, and at the end of the day, you just felt useless. This isn't a skill issue. This isn't coming from me just because I'm a gold player. This was something that Flats and many other top tanks at the time expressed their disinterest in. They hated the fact that you felt useless. You felt like a big bag of health and you felt like that was your only job. And because the tank role has never been about being a big bag of health, it has always been about taking space, the opening of Overwatch 2 felt bad. From what I can see in the current iteration, they've done pretty well to scale that back. They've done a very good job at making you feel more like a tank, more like a space taker, more like a space commander, not a space commander, but a commander of space. You take the space, you command the space, and you control it, and that's great. But I still miss duoing with other tanks. The thing about being a tank in Overwatch is your teams, especially in the lower ranks, expect everything of you, and if you mess up even once, even if you don't mess up, you are to blame. I have been flamed more on tank than DPS, and right now, currently, as I'm talking to you, DPS is my worst role. I suck at DPS. I end every game with like a straight even 1 KD. Sometimes I end it in the negatives, and I've been flamed less on DPS than I have on tank. And you know the reason? It's not because I'm a worse tank than a DPS. It's because you're always to blame. You are always the problem. And at the end of the day, if you don't outperform the enemy tank, if you don't outperform everybody else in the lobby, people just assume that you're absolute garbage. You don't deserve gold even. You don't deserve bronze. You deserve to be in plastic -15, and they will fucking stick by that, and they will yell slurs at you, they will harass you, they will call you all sorts of things because you are not doing what they want you to do. Now, I understand from like a support player's perspective, this video might be a little bit eye-rolling because when I play support, I have definitely seen my fair share of tanks say some stupid shit like, oh my god, healer diff, because they're standing out in the middle of the fucking wide open and getting shot at for free and wondering why we can't out-heal 5 people shooting at them. I get it. I understand that tank players aren't perfect, but what I'm saying is that if you play tank, if you participate in the tank experience, you will get blamed for 99% of your losses. Most of the time, even if they aren't verbally blaming you, you can often see it in the way that they play, in kind of like their body language almost, I guess is a way to put it. I have seen people will be like pushing a point or we'll be winning a game and then we'll lose like maybe like 1 or 2 team fights in a row. And all of a sudden your DPS will swap to a Widow and they'll just stand out in the middle, or your soldier will stop taking those smart angles that he was taking and he'll instead just run it up main without you there, right? You can see and you can feel the blame being shifted to you. People will start emoting at you, they'll start spam pinging you, and it's just, it feels bad. Oh, we'll mute everything, but then we gotta mute the pings and then we're just at a bigger disadvantage. But past that, I just hate the responsibility of playing tank. I hate it. I can't stand it because right now, tank is a very solid role with a lot of responsibility. And I can't stand the idea that if I fuck up, I can throw the entire game with one singular mistake or one misplay or one missed cooldown, and that's just it. That's it. I missed the slam and pile drive as ball. Oh, and I instantly exploded because I got fucking CC'd into oblivion. Oh well, there it goes the entire game, even though there's 2 minutes left on the clock, because that 1 centimeter the payload didn't get pushed is actively going to be our detriment, right? Oh, as Rhine, I dropped my shield to fire strike at just the worst time possible, and one of my supports got picked off by a random ass Hanzo arrow. Oh, there it goes the entire game because my supports weren't there to back me up, and now I'm getting my fucking ass handed to me. I cannot stand how I am constantly expected to do everything because I'm only one person, and even if the team isn't expecting me to do everything, Blizzard is expecting me to do everything. Blizzard keeps buffing tanks and reworking tanks and making tanks into these kind of monsters that are able to jump into the enemy lines, cause a bunch of disruption and a bunch of damage, and then jump back out. Now you've got your tanks like Sigma or the recently released Domina, who are much better at like standing in one spot and just like blocking a bunch of damage. Sigma does it better than Domina, but Domina's really, really good at like isolating targets, and that's really, really cool. There are different ways to play tank, right? Orisa is also like very, very good at you know, slamming people from afar. She's got extremely good crowd control. All the tanks have really good crowd control except for JQ, but even JQ's got her knife. The point is that Blizzard expects you as the tank to handle way more than any other person, because at the end of the day, you are the only tank. If you play support, you have another support that can heal up whenever you're not there, or they can provide utility, right? So maybe you play Lucio, right? And so you have a lot of speed boost, you have a lot of utility in getting your team from one point to the other. So you can play Lucio, meanwhile you could have an Ana or a Mercy, or well, you don't play Lucio Mercy, but you get my point. You could have an Ana, you could have a Brig, you could have literally anybody else picking up the slack for the lack of healing that you're going to be doing. Or alternatively, if you go the classic metal rank support composition Mercy Moira, then when one of you is dead, the other one can pick it up. If you queue up and play DPS, both the DPS can come together and one can take one angle, one can take another angle. If you are slacking for even a moment, you have another DPS to pick up the slack of what's happening to you. And with tank, you're just not able to fucking do that. You can't rely on anybody else. And that sucks. You're supposed to be able to rely on your team, but when you're trying to climb ranked, you can't rely on your full team. You just can't, because they're fucking gold and they're stupid and you're stupid as well. And the only way for your stupid ass to get out of these stupid ranks full of stupid people is to stop being stupid. And I am going to say this right now, and it might be a hot take. I firmly believe tank is the hardest role to climb on. I firmly believe, because so much responsibility is on your shoulders as the tank, that it is the hardest role to actually claw your way out of the lower ranks, because you have to keep so much shit in mind. You have to pay attention to 50 million things at the same time, and then you have to make a split-second decision on what is your actual responsibility. Earlier today, I had a game on Numbani. There was 4 people in front of us on first point. They were attacking us directly from under the stairs to the right of the point. I am trying to fight them off. There is an Ashe in main to the left, just pumping damage into my entire team. I called out that the Ashe was there 5 times. No one took care of the Ashe. I'm trying to deal with 4 people in front of me. We all die, we all lose because the Ashe did not get taken care of. What do I do in that situation? I talked to one of my top 500 friends, and she suggested that the best thing to do would have been to stay on high ground and take care of the Ashe before jumping down and take care of point. So yeah, my mistake, but in that moment, I'm trying to decide between handling 4 people on the point against my team and handling the Ashe. The decision is obvious now, but in the moment, you're not always going to get that decision right. And that's what sucks about playing tank. So fuck it, I'm going back to DPS. And I just don't want to queue tank anymore. I hate queuing tank. It is miserable. It's awful. You've got too much responsibility. Too much is on your shoulders. And I want to be Grandmaster by the end of 2026. And I just don't feel like learning the tank role enough to do that. So yeah, that's my video. If you disagree, cool. If you agree, cool. Either way, I think you should hit that subscribe button to see even more Overwatch content down the road. Love you guys so much. As always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member and get awesome perks like seeing videos early, there's discount codes and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.